Hello, this is the TinkerCAD file for Little Nemo. Little Nemo is the data collection submarine for the robot team. I'm going to scroll through the code while I explain the circuits. There's just 9-volt battery, a Arduino, the breadboard, a motor controller. For sensors, we have a temperature probe, we have a flex sensor that's going to be used for depth, and we have a servo motor that's going to be, an ultrasonic sensor that is used to detect distance to the river bed. The flex sensor is going to be used for depth in the sense that it's going to be attached to a film on a cup full of air or a pocket of air to detect water pressure. For actuators, I have a servo motor that is actually going to be attached to a rack and pinion, attached to a bladder that will fill or empty with water to change the buoyancy of Little Nemo for surfacing and diving. And then we have a hobby motor that will just be attached to an impeller for forward and backward movement. There is no side-to-side movement for Little Nemo. He will be carried by the current, similar to a fishing line. So you saw the code there. I'm going to briefly run through it. We have the initializations, just everything here, including communication defaults and storing the data variables. We have the initial setup for the different pins. I have the primary loop. Here we have sleep, start, go to target, collect data. So it's going to go into sleep in order to be in a powered down state in order to wait for the start signal for it to work. In the future, it will power down its sensors, but currently it still has power but does not read from the sensors. Then it's going to move on to its start. That's just going to zero out some of the actuators and initialize everything. It would initialize the sensors if they needed to be. Then it's going to go to target, where it detects whether it's in the target zone to collect data or not. If it isn't, it's going to attempt to move or adjust to that target. It's going to be a lot of waiting because it's going to be carried by the current, but it's always going to be checking every once in a while to see if it's where it needs to be to collect data. Once it is in its data collection zone, I'm actually going to start simulating now. It is going to collect the data and send it off to Hubbard, or in this case, it's going to send it to the serial port based on standardized data signals to simulate sending it to Hubbard. And it's going to actually flip back and forth between go to target and collect data. It's going to adjust its position as it can if it needs to, and then go back to collecting data. You can see here it's sending the data out. I'm going to change some of the sensors, simulate different distances, different temperatures, different flex angles. And it's going to change what's in here. You can see it's printing a lot of different things. A lot of its outputs is actually printing. Normally that would be swapped to simple writes to the serial port, but in this case I'm just going to print them out. There's different controls for receiving different signals, sending signals to return for an emergency signal. There's going to be different signals. Here we have different movement. Here we have some of the targeting behaviors. We have some of the, here's communications. This is all of the communications that I might need with either Big Mama or Hubbard. Are they going to be the two primary ones, or any devices that run through the serial port? So we just have some of these subroutines, these are the sending signals. Here we go, the sensors. These are the different sensors. And we have these subroutines for updating status, for checking things, for emergency signals, a custom sleep and deactivate. And that's basically it. That is how Little Nemo functions or would function. Some additions would be maybe another sensor and finishing out the emergency signal states. Thank you.